The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and we want to thank you for getting up early with us today. Jacky, new background on a Tuesday. How are you doing? How was the trip? Or how was the travel anyway?
Okay, it was a whole adventure because my ride picked me up after the time I actually wanted to be at the airport, right? So I got to the airport at like 12.
Okay.
And my flight was leaving at 1. So they were boarding at 12:15, 12:30, right? And I was just like, I still have to check in. Though I had my boarding pass already loaded on my phone. Mm-hmm. Thanks to my host. It wasn't loaded on my side, so I gave her my information and she was able to sort me out. But it was stressful. But I got through. I didn't get to explore the new airport, but I got through. My flight was smooth. And then it was bumpy, and then it was smooth again, and then it was bumpy. And he was just like, all right, we're facing some turbulence, so we're going to counteract this by speeding up. And I'm like, oh, so fast turbulence, fine.
So it sounds like you had a very interesting experience yesterday, but you landed safely. And as y'all can see, Jacky and I are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and make sure you share this episode with your circle. Take a minute and share the link on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and drop the link into your favorite WhatsApp group chat. And to all of our tweets over there on Twitter, make sure you retweet it if you haven't already, because why, Jacky?
Sharing is caring.
Absolutely. So we're going to get started with our Feel Good warm-up. We're just going to let you know what we're going to be talking about today. Our Feel Good topic of the day is a plant-based bucket list. So we are celebrating that November 1st is World Vegan Day. And so today we're going to be sharing with you some of the top plant-based restaurants around the world. And if you want to laugh to get your morning started, make sure you stick around for Joke Time with Jacky, because she has the corniest jokes. I definitely try to figure out the answer, and it's more fun to realize what the answer is and see how corny the joke actually was. But before we get into all of that, we're going to start off by doing our Feel Good warm-up. We want to ask you, what is your favorite meal to cook? Fill in the blank. My favorite meal to cook is what? Jacky, you are a self-proclaimed foodie. You cook for yourself often. So what is your favorite meal to cook and why?
In the wintertime, I like to make soups.
Okay.
My favorite is pumpkin soup. I don't know. It just warms the soul. So, and it's perfect and it's fast and it's fast, yeah. And it's easy. It's super easy and it's so yummy. I don't do, like some people will add heavy cream. I don't. I add avocado. So it's more vegan than anything because I can't do the dairy. So that's my dairy substitute. So it's still nice and creamy.
That's perfect, because I was actually just thinking about that, because every time I see pumpkin soup, I have to like question, do they have heavy cream in there? Because
they usually put heavy cream. Exactly. And they usually put heavy cream and I'm just like, so I make it myself and it's so good. I usually pass them up to my mom, and then my sister's just like, how come you got a bill and not me?
Yeah. Gosh, so then there's fighting.
Yeah. But other than that, I enjoy making like huge meals. I used to help my mom with Christmas dinner, and then so I don't mind doing like a leg of layer, macaroni,
Really?
sweet potatoes, honey carrot, like, caramelized carrots.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always sit there and just cook everything. So I don't really have a favorite. I just enjoy cooking. I don't always eat at the end though, because I don't understand how chefs do it. Like they still sit down and eat. I can't.
Do you eat while you're like preparing the food?
I would taste, yeah.
Okay, that's probably why. You're no
But
longer full.
I don't have like whole meals. Like I don't really taste the meat as I'm cooking it.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything else to make sure that it smells nice and that
Right.
actually tastes nice.
Got you. So you definitely taste throughout, which I think a lot of people do when they cook
Yeah.
big meals anyway. I think when you're calling
Yeah.
like a small meal, it's kind of difficult because by the time you start tasting it, it's time to eat anyway. So it's kind of like, but the bigger meals, yeah, because they take like hours.
Yeah.
To prepare. So I could see that. It looks like Misha says anything on the grill is his favorite food.
No.
Clearly the grill.
He's a meaty, so it makes sense.
And he loves the grill. Like grilling is definitely one of his favorite things. So shout outs to Mish for cooking anything that he can cook on the grill. For me, I would say my favorite meal to cook is chickpea tikka masala. Like that's my number one dish that
Because you keep nailing it.
I stand. I mean, I've been doing it for over 2 years now. So I'm at a point where it's like, it's perfect to my taste, what I like, and all of that. So I have mastered my chickpea tikka masala. I am moving on to other beans like lentils, red beans. I'm actually doing a chili right now. So it's in the slow cooker. It's going to cook for 8 hours on low.
So what's in your chili?
So diced tomatoes. I did chickpeas, kidney beans, black-eyed peas, split green peas, split yellow pea, quinoa, garlic, and then
you have to have
spices.
Garlic.
Yeah, you have to have spices. I was gonna do onion, but I didn't feel like putting them in the like food processor to chop up. So that was my thing. But next time, yeah, I normally put onions in there, but I did it this morning, so it's kind of like one of those. Okay, you only have a certain amount of time for you to prepare everything. Oh, I put broccoli in there though. So
sometimes I do. Sometimes when I add onions, I do 2 texture onions. So, I mean, I'll explain what I mean.
Yeah, so I'm going to say 2 texture.
I'd cut up half the onion and I'll put it in there so that it slow cooks and it gets like real soft.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before I serve it, like maybe 10 minutes max. Actually, not even that. Like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. I'll put the other raw onion in there, so it's like semi-cooked, so you still get the crunch, but then you get 2 different textures.
Interesting.
It's a sense thing, right? Especially when I'm trying to get off of like meat, it's like I need certain textures. I want crunch. I want smooth. Like I need those different textures because that's what you're used to. So
you need the options.
That's how I usually do it. Yeah, and I have to have mushrooms as well. Is that weird that I like mushrooms in my chili?
No, it's not. I like mushrooms. I just didn't have them to put in there. I would honestly, the only thing I really paid attention to was the amount of liquid to put into the dish. Otherwise, everything else was kind of like, okay, let's try this. Let's put this in there. Let's do that. So I would have done the exact same thing. I would have added mushrooms, but I didn't have any. So there's that. But I would definitely do that next. I mean, it is like you said, it's cooling down. So chilies and soups will definitely be on the menu to cook over the next month or so.
Do you put celery in your chili?
Normally, didn't have it. Normally do. Do you put yours in like right in the beginning or do you towards the end?
I do it like in the middle.
Okay.
And I put them, I don't make them big chunks. I make them really fine, like diced up.
Right.
So you know how I have this stalk? I will slice the stalk down the middle 3 times, and then I'll chop it again. And I do chives. I'll add chives and stuff.
Look at you with your chef pro tips over there talking about you know how to cook. Over asking for recipes. She knows what she's doing over there.
I just like recipes to look at the ingredients. I need the ingredients list, and then I'll create something.
Then you do the rest. So if you're just joining us, Jackie and I are talking about our favorite meals to cook. Let us know in the comments what your favorites are. It looks like Misha reminds us that you can grill veggies too. So he's not just focused on the meats. He definitely does grill the veggies as well, and they come
fruits.
out amazing.
You gotta like put half a pineapple on it.
Oh yes, okay. I was like, wait, what fruits are we grilling? Pineapple. Yes, I could see that. Definitely see that. So I want to bring up this comment by Davika Hill Jack.
I love making a lot of things, but if I had to pick one pasta dish, would be I love pasta dishes in the middle of the night. That's why I have a belly. I will do garlic butter sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So I use I think what's the vegan brand butter?
There's a few, but we'll
Anyway,
go.
I got hip to it, and I'll just like
Mm-hmm.
take a scoop and drop it in there and let that come into, and I'll just dice up my garlic, throw that in there, my onions, throw that in there, and then I'll just keep seasoning it until I get it to the consistency that I want. And then I add my pasta, mix it all in, throw a little breadcrumb on top.
Little breadcrumb.
I don't do this.
I was like,
I'm
wait, that's real Bermudian. Just throw that breadcrumb under.
boom. We're done. Yeah, sprinkle a little
We
parsley.
are done. That is hilarious. So I want to come back to this because when you mentioned, grilling fruits, I really was like, what are you talking about? And then Misha says, in addition to pineapple, watermelon. Have you tried grilled watermelon before?
I've never actually done the grilled watermelon because most times I'm like, that's such a great idea as I'm snacking
Eating
on it. Yeah, so sometimes it doesn't actually make it to the grill. But
Got you.
I love grilled zucchini. Like you just basically slice it down the middle and drop it on. Mm.
Grilled veggies are definitely wow. 10 out of 10 recommend. I will try grilled fruit. I haven't honestly, although I've seen people put pineapple on the grill, I've never actually had grilled pineapple.
It's
So
good.
that'd be something that I'd try. Looking at the time, we're gonna take a quick commercial
Oh,
break, and
geez.
then Jacky and I will be back to talk about some of the top plant-based restaurants around the world. So if you are planning to go overseas in the near future, we're gonna tell you where some of the best restaurants are to try out if you want to try out some good plant-based foods.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio. Home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert. And if you're just joining us, we're getting ready to talk about our feel-good topic of the day, which is a plant-based bucket list. We're going to be sharing with you the top plant-based restaurants around the world that you can try out because in honor of our plant-based/vegan week, we are going to be giving you all the tips, keys, all the things you need to know so that you can too become plant-based. Like Jacky and I. Well, Jacky's not really plant-based yet, but she's coming.
I'm
November
working on
1st.
it.
She's coming over November 1st. So as we start with this particular topic, the first question we want to ask you is really simple. Are there any plant-based restaurants in your area? Jacky, you're overseas now. Have you seen any? Have you researched any just yet that you want to try out while you're over there?
I just had the name in my head because it was in the article you sent me. And I was just like, ooh, that's in New York. It can't be that far away. It has to at least be on Uber Eats and they can figure out how to get it here. Because like I don't really know my way around New York like that anymore. I'm so used to being in the city and I'm not like in Times Square area.
Okay, so you're like a little ways out.
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, are you like in what is it? As Attica or something like that? Like super far up. I thought you
I'm
said
not.
super far. Okay. I was
I'm
like,
not.
you sounded like you were like super far away.
I'm not at all. No.
Okay, St. George's, but also
But,
St. David's.
I know. I'm like, nothing's that far. I mean, they speed out here.
So I want to come to those two restaurants that you mentioned because there are, so on our list, we basically asked the internet where are some of the best plant-based restaurants. And so this resource that we found listed 8. And so there were actually 2 on the list that were in New York. The first one is 11 Medicine Park. And the second one is Kajitsu, which one has Japanese inspired plant-based foods. And then the other, it looked like to me, just like your regular, the types of food that you would be used to seeing on the Western side of the world. I don't want to say American. I just want to say like, just the, regular foods that you're used to seeing. And what I found interesting was the caliber of the food presentation. So like,
oh my God, it's art.
right?
It's literally eating art. Like I got lost. I told you I was gonna get lost in Instagram. So I went on the rabbit hole and I ended up like, I want to go Bangkok because It's beautiful. Like it looked like they were making jello. Like you know how I don't know if you ever did it, but they would teach you how to make the insides, like your insides with using jello. So like
I
the
was like,
kidney.
huh, Jackie?
So like
What?
you'd have like the kidney as a bean, like
Yes.
all the different things. And
Yes.
that's what it reminded me of because it's art.
It really
I don't,
is.
so at the same time you're looking at it and you're like, oh my God, I want to know what that tastes like. But do you want to destroy the art at the same time? The presentation is
Unfortunately.
just remarkable.
I
So
live I live for the presentation of food. The plating is definitely it. I think it's interesting, this question, only because like for you, now that you're, over there, you probably have more access to plant-based foods.
so thinking of that, I actually clicked it for 2 seconds. I have a Ross plant-based vegan, which is 1.8 miles away. That
Close.
looks wicked, and
Walking
it looks
distance.
right. And then I have Greedy Kitchen, Greedy Vegan Bed Stew, whatever. That is zero point 0.5 miles away. And
Even
then
closer.
Amid Tofu Vegan Cuisine.
How
I'm
close is that?
probably 1 mile.
Oh. It sounds like they have tofu. It sounds like they have a lot of tofu in
Yeah,
their dishes.
yeah. But they all open at noon. Well, between noon and 2, so they open at lunchtime,
Okay.
and they all deliver.
That is perfect. So you
And
don't
it's
have to ship
raining
something.
outside, so I can just.
Right here too.
I feel sorry for the people that have to deliver in the rain. Like honestly, I can't express how much I appreciate you for getting out of your house and doing it, because I can't even get it for myself. You're doing it for other
For
people,
me.
and I know you're
Yeah.
getting paid for it, but like, yeah,
One of the things that's interesting about Bermuda is that we don't have like a true plant-based restaurant. Like, because so
yeah,
all of the restaurants on this list are 100% plant-based. So it's not like it's a restaurant that does animal products and then it just adds plant-based options. Like these are
right,
strictly plant-based restaurants. And it's sad this question to answer as a Bermudian because here in Bermuda, we don't have any. And
yeah,
so even if you want to try out a plant-based diet lifestyle, it's difficult because you have to go to the regular restaurant in order to
yeah.
pray that they have a plant-based option, and then they
I'm
don't,
actually, I'm
or they
actually really
do.
curious because all of them state like vegan restaurant, and it's just like, what does it taste like? How does your food, like, what's your food taste like, knowing that there's no cross
Oh
contamination?
my gosh, you have to let us know. So whichever one you try, you have to let us know like how
I know
great or how not so great. Because like we're not saying that all plant-based food can come
it's
out great,
good.
right? It could come out
Yeah,
bad.
I think I might go to the, I might do Ross plant based because, like, I don't know, I'm just thinking Ross, and I know they're gonna use all these spices in the world.
Oh, see it. That's not. It does sound like it's gonna be like really
I know.
adventurous food. So when it comes to the comments, so Jamal is saying Planta. Is that a restaurant in Florida, Jamal? Because if it is, it's on the bucket list. Tick. We're
Yep.
gonna try there. And then so Davika has a suggestion for you, Jackie. Check out Champ's Diner in Brooklyn.
It's this part for me that still me. I'm like, oh,
Clearly 10 out of 10 would recommend that. So
perfect.
let's move on to the next question, which is kind of like a trivia question.
Mm.
So we want to know the best city for plant-based foodies is. So in our research, because everyone has an opinion on where the best restaurants are, but there are some places in the world that actually have like a higher concentration of plant-based restaurants than others. So audience, in the comments, let us know where you think the best city for a plant-based foodie is. Thinking of the number of restaurants that they might have in that area, the types of foods that they offer to
Can we not just
their
go with
client.
Bangkok?
Clearly, that's Jackie's answer.
Because I did the rabbit hole.
Clearly, that's Jackie's answer. It looks like Kathy Rogers is in with us. Good morning, Kathy.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us. So she does have a guess. She says probably California. So let us know in the comments where you think the best city for plant-based foodies is. And we will kind of preface this, give you a disclaimer. The resource is the National Geographic. So it's based on their criteria. This isn't something that Jacky and I did a quick survey on. We just found this resource, and the Nat Geo, they have 8 of the best cities for plant-based foodies. And we want to know, where do you think it is? So Jack is going with Bangkok. So when you were doing your rabbit hole, your plant-based deep dive, what were some of the things you saw from like the food that was presented from like the Bangkok restaurants that you saw? Like, what did you see?
It was just like, I saw like the food presentation, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and they would have like the broccoli. Like you think broccoli is just boring, but they'll put like a creamy something sauce underneath it. I can't remember what they said was in the sauce,
Got
but
you.
it just looks wow.
Everything about it just looked
And
amazing.
because it was presented so well, you know that they've taken time to go through recipes and do research and trial and error. So I just feel like they've already done all the hard work. We just have to do the easy work of ingesting and
Of enjoying the food, right? And so speaking of Bangkok, so Bangkok is on the list. It's not the top best city, but it is on the list. And so one of the things they say that it's split between two extremes. So on one end, you do have fine dining, plant-based experiences, and then you do have what I reckon is more of they say like traditional or religious vegan food. So it's more like, not the average meal, but it's just like a regular meal. It's not like something where you're like looking for a full experience. You're just looking to eat some food, which I think is pretty interesting, just given the nature of, well, I don't know, because Misha actually lived in Thailand, just giving all his information out there. But he has, because he talks a lot about there's bills. Oh, geez, what those bills are called. You know, Bill 61 in Bermuda?
Yeah, the poke
I don't know what this.
bills.
Yes, the poke bills. Totally couldn't get the word out. Those things, oh wow.
Yeah,
These things, oh wow. I had one
yeah.
for the first time
I
before the
got them from
panorama.
Masaki.
Oh yeah?
I got them from Masaki. I do the tuna or the salmon.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Oh,
good.
we're gonna have a whole conversation tomorrow about food documentaries. So do make sure you tune in tomorrow if you haven't watched the food documentary lately and you want to. We're gonna give you some of our favorites, but we also want to hear from you to find out what some of your favorites are. So it looks like Kathy is the only one that really gave us a comment, and you, Jacky, like I said, yours was on the list. Kathy, to be fair, I would have thought California as well, just because of the way California presents itself as like this really natural place, and just all of the food and stuff,
Liberal.
like, yeah, very liberal, and the amount of diversity that they have in the people that live there.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't even come up on this National Geographic list, which I think is a disservice to, like, there's actually no US city. There is a North American city. So Toronto, Canada is a haven for vegans. It's Canada's largest city. I didn't know that. So shout outs to the Nat Geo for letting us know that. But Canada is the only North American country that came on this list. So we'll just go through quickly and tell you some of the best cities for vegans. So Warsaw, Poland. First of all, have you even heard of that place? And then second of all, would you travel to Warsaw, Poland to try some vegan food? Personally, I've never heard of this city.
I'd have to do some research on the city and how they treat me.
Yeah, I haven't Poland, in a country, but I just never thought of them being the top place for plant-based foods. But maybe their culture is one that doesn't eat meat or hasn't ate meat in a while, ever. We'll definitely look into that. But I thought that was interesting because it wasn't who I thought it would have been. And I think, like Kathy says, they seem to be trendsetters. So I thought, that's what I'm thinking. Like, they definitely tend to be people who would be like all about eating plants. Not surprised about number 2. The country is India. The city is Bangalore. I could be pronouncing that wrong. But, okay, but I really think India to me is like a doll.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anyone has not experienced Indian food before, but most Indian food is generally vegetarian and then very basically vegan because they don't really use dairy that much that I've seen. Jackie, like, do you eat Indian? Do you like Indian?
Yes. What? Love Indian. Actually, they left the island, but I used to have some clients, the whole family, they invite us over for any of our birthdays. So I'd be like, I'd ask for anything. Like she used to just make me stuff. And she used to do this, she used to make this like bread, like I like how you'd have like bread in the morning, but like a sweet bread. She
Mm-hmm.
used to make it for me and it was made out of dates. Like it was completely vegan. And she used to try all these different recipes and her tikka masala recipe, everything. And she used to eat meat, but it wasn't as much. Like they'd have it a part of their meal, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, they would eat a lot of like the sauce and the rice, and they were traditional Indian. They're in Chicago
Okay.
now, but like traditional Indian, like arranged marriage and stuff.
Got you. So honestly, India didn't
So,
surprise me on the list. Bangkok, Thailand didn't surprise me on the list. Poland definitely. Warsaw, Poland definitely surprised me, and it looks like it surprised Kathy as well. She says that's interesting. I think the Nat Geo have they. I mean, they do more travel stuff than Jackie and I, so we're not even going to dispute the fact that they have these on the list. But I do want to come back to the restaurants because some of the restaurants that are in the UK are in some pretty, to me, familiar places. So there's Mildred's in London, UK. And
mhm.
I know we have some people that watch over in Europe. So I would be interested to know if anyone has heard of them because they seem like a really popular restaurant. And I think it's really interesting that only one restaurant from London came on here because I don't know, is London like a foodie city? I don't think so. I don't hear too many people excited about going to restaurants in London.
Yeah,
But that could just be me.
I could be wrong, but I just don't like. I wouldn't rush. I'd have to do research to see what food places that I'm excited for. I know that it's good for shopping, and I know it's good for partying.
So I'd be interested to know if anyone ever in the UK has experienced any really good plant-based foods or plant-based restaurants over there. Because, like I said, Mildred's in London is the only one over that side, and then
Mm,
there's a restaurant called Yala in Sydney, Australia. Now they have a really interesting story because they actually started out doing meats and then they transitioned to being vegetarian and now they're 100% vegan, which I think is really interesting because it's a sign of the times. A
that's a
lot of people are going from, okay, I used to eat meat, now I'm not eating so much meat, okay, now all I eat is plants, which I think is cool.
I
Come,
do too, because like
come.
I remember like coming off the bus, ordering traditions on my way home, and the or even parakeet if I was going to work
Mm-hmm.
at Elbow, and it was always, can I get a bacon cheeseburger with lettuce, tomato, raw onions, mayonnaise and ketchup, a black and white milkshake, and an order of fries. Like
Mm.
that was my afternoon snack, and there's not one vegetable in there except for the lettuce and tomato and onions, like the garnish.
And that's not even getting a full serving of vegetables.
I know. And
Like,
now
calm
I'm
down.
like, now I'll put more veggies on my plate than I would anything else. And I would eat that first and then I'll eat the meat last. I used to eat the meat first and then eat the veggies and stuff last. Like that was just a filler. Um, but now I fill myself with the veggies and whatever starch if I have starch.
Right.
And then I will be like, all right, I guess I'll have some meat.
I guess maybe, but oh no, I'm full, so no, I won't have any meat. I think it's a really interesting story for that particular restaurant because, like I said, it's how most of the world is going, and I think it's really cool for a restaurant to kind of go through that evolution and for people to probably change their lifestyle because one of their favorite restaurants has done it. So it's kind of like, it's easy. It's like, I like going there anyway. So sure, I'll try this new food with you all. You had great food before. Hopefully you'll still have great food. And clearly they do, because they are listed as one of the top plant-based restaurants to check out. I see we have some comments in the audience. So Mylan says, Poland is very interesting because they have meat diets like the rest of Europe. It is very interesting to me too. Like, I am personally shocked. 100%.
Like, I'm still on that Australian restaurant, because it's just like, I want to know how many people were going to that restaurant and that they slowly had transitioned with them, that they continued to go to the restaurant. Like, if they had, say, 10,000 loyal customers, because Australia is huge, so 10,000, and that's a random number, loyal customers, and say even 500 stayed on, that's a lot of people to transition to being plant-based. That's amazing.
And some more interesting fun facts about them. So they do have the setting of their restaurant is a European setting. So it's in Australia, but they have it set up in a Europe feel. So you do kind of low-key get that travel experience without leaving the comfort of your country or your city, Sydney, Australia. So I think that's also, I think, a key thing when you're going to eat out, right? It's like having that full experience, not just like, the food itself, but having the full experience of the atmosphere. Jacky didn't drop some. I think that's what I lost the other airport. Oh, it's the airport. Of course she lost something. She definitely lost something. So I want to come back to this comment from Kathy Rogers. She says, so many Indian restaurants in the UK from her experience. That's what I remember, to be honest, but not spicy Indian food. Like, the Indian food that I had in the UK was so mild. It was so mild. And
got hot sauce in my bag, swag. Sorry.
I would say that when I went, I was young. So I was a teenager. I was still in high school. And I figured that I don't think Londoners like spicy food, to be quite honest. That's just my personal impression of their palate. And so for the Indian dish to be basically like the London palate, I was kind of upset. I thought it was going to be spicy. I was prepared mentally for like extremely spicy food, and it was not.
It's crazy upset that they don't like spicy foods. Like,
I was like, why, Spay? Why? So speaking of your, what is it? The bacon cheeseburger and fries after school snack. Sherry remembers that snack as well.
And I used to kill it. Like, I walked on the hill still. Like, I don't even know how I carried everything, but I was eating the whole walk and drinking my milkshake down the hill.
But why?
But I also was good friends with the guys at that used to drive the carts, like to drop the guests off at the bus stop and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, hey, George, can you pick me up? I'm at Parakeet. And they'll come get me.
Jacky would definitely take the ride. Just eating it on your way on.
I didn't drop anything there. And if I did, I land on my belly. Just pick it back up.
She is so crazy. Oh, I really can't. So Kathy Rogers wants to know, are we having curry tonight? To be honest, I had chickpea tikka masala yesterday, so I'm not having it tonight. But by all means, if you feel inspired to have some curry this evening, I highly recommend, because I think Indian food is amazing. Personally,
I do too. I actually got the chance to go to India, and I miss the food.
Yeah, you did say that you've been there before.
And I miss my clients. And I remember going to the market and going crazy on spices. And I brought some back. And like, my whole suitcase smelled like spices. It was the best thing ever. And I remember using everything and being disappointed, because I was just like, I should have brought back like a whole suitcase of spices. So I found out that my client was actually going back home to visit her family. Mm-hmm. So she brought back all the stuff for me, but it was these spices. I was so excited. And she wrote down recipes to go with each spice, like different things that I can do. And I was just like, so I have to hit her up and see if I can get these recipes again, because I don't have them anymore. But because I got the luxury of just being like, so I'm going to make this. She's like, oh, I made it. Just come over.
Well, please and thank you.
Or she'll bring me a bill to come when she came to pick up her kids. She'll be like, here you go. I miss those days. Those were good days.
Well, definitely share the recipe with us when you get them from her. If you're just joining us, Jacky and I are discussing all things plant-based around the world. We've been sharing with you some of the top plant-based restaurants around the world, as well as the best cities for plant-based or vegan eaters. And we're going to wrap it up with this final question that we have for you. And we're going to also continue to share some more of the restaurants, because there's other parts of the world that these restaurants are located in. So we kind of started with North America. Jacky's in New York. There were actually 2 restaurants in the list that are in New York. And then we found out that the best city in the world for vegans is actually Poland. So if you have any interest of going to Poland, put that on your bucket list. Warsaw is the name of the city. So do make sure if it's in your...
It makes me, not to cut you off, it makes me think of Sister Act. I think it's the first one where the chef is Polish and he puts it down in front and it's like just sausage and like some other stuff. And it didn't look... So that's what's stuck in my head when I think of Poland.
That's why I was really like... But to Mylan's point, maybe the neighbors have changed. So maybe they're no longer super... heavy on the on the meat eating. So it's probably like, even with the Sydney, Australia restaurant, they've evolved over time. So maybe that's what happened over there in Poland, and we are totally here for it. So final question, we want to know, do you think plant-based restaurants can earn a Michelin star? So if you're not familiar with what a Michelin star, it is the top. It's like getting a Grammy, I guess, to a musician. Like, it's the best thing that you want to get as a restaurateur, a chef, all of that type of stuff. So if you get one, you're basically the best of your category for that year. And so we want to know, do you think plant-based restaurants can earn a Michelin star? Yes or no? And why or why not?
Because like, you have to, it's not as traditional, right? So you have to come up with a whole new recipe that will intrigue and lock somebody in that is so stuck in their ways of eating meat that you have to make them think outside the box and completely make their taste buds explode. And if you can do that, then absolutely.
I think what's really interesting, because I watch like pretty much all of the food reality TV shows on Netflix. Like, I love all of them. And one of them was about, Michelin star chefs and like their journey to getting a Michelin star. And it's difficult. Like, it's not like a Michelin star is not something you wake up and get. Like, you have to put in work, and you have to be, like you said, creative and show your food in a way that is outside of the box. And I feel like y'all are real creatives. Like, chefs are real creatives.
They're like scientists, like they're mad scientists. They are taking something that is bland and then they're making it. Honestly, I know I keep saying it, but it's art. Like, it's beautiful.
It really is art. And so Kathy agrees. It's definitely possible, all about flavor. And that's another thing too, right? Because I want to say half of the restaurants that were on our list, and we'll share this resource with you on Twitter. So do make sure, if you're not already following us on Twitter, that you do follow us, because half of the restaurants actually have at least one Michelin star. I think one has 3, but they've been acknowledged for being kind of the best in their field, their space. And I just think that is awesome. I think it's amazing. I don't know which one I'm going to try first, but one of these restaurants are going to be visited by myself. There's actually one in South Korea, Baowu. I'm not going to try to pronounce the second word because it's a little difficult, but they do a lot of traditional Buddhist food. Korean Buddhism is the type of food that they create, which I thought was interesting because I really didn't think of the food connection to the Buddhist religion, but it's kind of like a dal.
Like, see, this is why I've missed traveling. Like, I got off, like, the person was just like, what's your purpose of travel? I'm like, vacation, but food. And he just looked at me and I'm like, I can't wait to eat. I haven't laughed in 2 years. I haven't laughed in over a year. I am so excited to eat all the different food. He just laughed. He was just like, enjoy.
I love it. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with Joke Time with Jacky. So to make sure, if you want to get your morning started with a laugh, that you stick around.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're just joining us today, we talked about our favorite foods to cook, as well as the top plant-based restaurants around the world. If you missed that, don't worry, you can catch the replay, or you can follow us on Twitter. We'll be dropping the links to the resources that we talked about today. Right now, it is time for Joke Time with Jackie. If this is the first time you're joining us, all you have to do is react to Jackie's jokes in the comments by dropping your favorite laughing emoji. Jackie, over to you.
Okay. What do you call it? What do you get when you put your radio in the fridge?
An ice box.
Cool music. I like yours, icebox. Why aren't koalas actually bears?
Koalas are not actually bears. I don't know.
They don't meet the qualifications. What's the difference between a school teacher and a train?
A school teacher and a train. They both want to run away.
The teacher says, "Spit out your gum," and the train says, "Choo choo." Sorry. Oh, God. So
As
funny.
always, we hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the day has you ready to make it a great one. Jackie and I want to give thanks to you for sticking around and watching this episode of Good Day Bermuda with us, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we trust we'll see you tomorrow for another Feel Good conversation. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.